Using an estimated 20,000 pieces and having a length of 6 feet and a wingspan of 5 feet, this is my custom LEGO 747. Begin the tour, we're going to start with the interior of the 747. The tail assembly can be removed with just one hand, and the same can be done for the upper fuselage assembly of the main part of the interior. Then goes the upper lounge area, and then finally the forward nose. After all the separate parts are removed, you get to see the entire interior of the 747 jumbo jet. Towards the very front of the plane, you can see that we have our first class area, and this one here appears to have a little glass on the table, maybe for drinking. As we move further back, we get to see some of the other first class seats, and you will notice that they are separated a little bit more. Now, of course, we couldn't forget the spiral staircase that leads to the lounge above. Now, we're going to start moving back to the rear part of the plane, where much of the economy seats are. Before we move on to the economy seats, I just wanted to point out the first class galley and bathrooms. Each one of these bathrooms has its own door and is much larger than the economy seat bathrooms. When it comes to the detailing in there, that little cheese slope there is supposed to be the toilet. The functionality of the first class doors are pretty basic. I will be going over this further on in the video. Beyond the first class bathrooms, you get to see a huge swath of economy seats and a couple doors leading to them. Just like the doors in the front, these doors use two battle droid arms to hinge into their place, just like the ones in the front. Here's a little bit of a closer look at that mechanism from the door on the other side of the aircraft. As we move even further back into the aircraft, we get to see some more economy seats and the economy bathrooms. Again, there's another set of doors leading into this area, and they function exactly the same as the ones we've already gone over, just a hinge and a slide, and they're in. Here's another look from a different angle on the other side. The economy seat bathrooms are much smaller than the ones you will find in first class, but even compared to today's standards, these were much larger than we have now. After that, we get to move further back into more economy seats, and if we move even further past that, we get to see another galley. Now, this is mostly for the economy seat passengers, and there also are two doors that lead into this area. These doors would have been most likely used to load in food or other goods into the aircraft. They function exactly the same as any other part of the door on this aircraft. They just slide on a droid battle arm mechanism and slot right into place. There's lots of room in this galley for many chefs to be able to work at once. Something that you may notice about this area is that on one side there are less seats than on the other. That is most likely due to needing to be able to load things into the galley. This area here has by far the most seats, and in the very back you get to see more bathrooms. At the very rear of the plane, we get to find two more functioning doors. These may have been used to load cargo. Just like in the midsection of the plane, we will find 4 more bathrooms with little toilets inside of them and functioning doors. These are very important to the passengers. That is where the passenger space ends and where the construction of the plane begins. Now, in order to be able to see more of the plane, we have to reassemble it. The first thing to go back on, of course, is going to be the nose, which houses the pilot in the pilot's area to rest and relax. Then, we're going to want to replace the upper lounge area that was only found on the 747 100 and 200 models. Then goes that massive upper fuselage part that covers most of the interior of the main fuselage. This is very heavy. And then finally, you replace the main tail section with the Pan Am logo on it. And then after all of that, you get a fully assembled plane. The next bit that we're going to be taking a closer look at are the massive flaps on the wing. These massive flaps have a tri-hinge mechanism. First, you're going to bring down the flap tracks that are on the bottom of the wing. Then you're going to want to slightly extend the flap out of the body. It has a 3-track system, so it will hinge in 3 places. You're then going to want to hinge the outside and then the inside. And then that's how you pull down the main flap on the 747. There's a very similar process for the outer flaps. You're just going to want to extend the flap tracks or pull them down. Then you're going to want to pull out the wings in an outward direction in order to slide it out of the wing. You're then going to want to hinge it in both places to create the flap. Now all the flaps are down on this plane. If you were wondering what that little bit on the wing is, that's actually a weight to stabilize it. In order to be able to see inside the cockpit, you need to remove this quick little window and roof piece in order to gain access to the inside. The 747 did have 4 high bypass turbofan engines mounted to its wings. This model does have a wingspan of over 5 feet, and it has a length of almost 6 feet. The next part we'll be looking at is the upper lounge area. The upper lounge is quite detailed and even has the orange paint to signify the 70s and 80s. And of course you couldn't forget this little snack cart. And that's going to wrap up our tour of the Pan Am 747. I really enjoyed making this model. It challenged me in many, many ways, and I'm still making changes to it to this day. And I plan on making some more changes in the future. I'm always trying to improve my models. And if you like this build too, then please be sure to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and as always, bye for now.